In your book, you're very critical of preschools that are heavy on skills, passing along, sort of heavy-duty literacy, math skills, etc. You call this no preschooler left behind. It strikes me, though, if we're going to have a national system, especially endorsed by Republicans, it's going to have to fit into the whole competitiveness theme, and it's going to be skill-related in some way. And I noticed you were admiring of Susan Landry's programs there in Texas, which struck me as an interesting mix of school readiness skills and general development skills. Could you talk a little about Susan's program and whether that is your ideal mix?
Well, I think that we get into this unfortunate either-or. Either you play, or you go through skill and drill. There's some, we don't want to be, as adults, we don't want to be thinking every time we're picking up our pencil and remembering whether this is an A or an X that we're writing. We don't want to be thinking about, adding 17 and 13. We want that to be really in the neurons, and that is a set of behavioral skills. Alison Gopnik, my colleague at Berkeley, writes about this issue. You also want to develop higher order thinking skills. What if you just focus on decoding words? Kids will do pretty well in decoding words after that, but there's no great joy in reading. There's no capacity to think about stuff. So one of the, you might get great short-term test results on the stuff that has been drilled into them. But as was said earlier, the farther up the ladder you go, the more you want to train thinkers, knowledge workers, the more you need that kind of adeptness. What I admire about what Susan Landry is doing goes back to your last question. She recognizes, for example, that it's not going to be tomorrow or 5 years from now that in Texas every preschool, pre-kindergarten teacher has a college degree, and she's developed a really good program, infinitely better than what, say, Florida has to offer. It combines video taping, and it's a lot of, here's the classroom situation, here's the problem, what do you do when this arises? And there's somebody around, a mentor teacher, who's working with those folks. And the teachers who participate in this plan have mentors working with them to help implement what it is that they've learned in the classroom. Now, there are aspects of that program that I don't love, and Susan and I have a kind of friendly, ongoing disagreement about the importance, the critical importance of having an outside evaluation of that program as opposed to just an in-house evaluation. But I admire her for taking up the very issue we've been talking about. How do you develop a program that's going to work across the board that isn't just skill and drill, number cards, the little alphabet cards, flashcards? How do you produce that kind of mix? How do you train the teachers? How do you develop the curriculum that's gonna work? And if, in the end of the day, she's got the courage of her convictions, and I think she does, she'll do the evaluation. And I would be surprised if it didn't confirm what she's found in-house, that it's the best program that I know of out there. Hardly the only one. Lots of ways of doing this, but that she's trying to do this, I think, really is impressive.